Welcome back to the channel where privacy, power, and hidden worlds are explored with care and respect. Today's story is not about politics, controversy, or speculation. It is about discretion, protection, and what it truly means to grow up under constant global attention. This is the inside story of how Barron Trump quietly and carefully travels through a world that never stops. Watch and understand how Barron Trump travels. You first have to understand the life he was born into. From a very young age, his name became recognizable across the world, not because of personal choice, but because of circumstance. Unlike celebrities who seek attention or public figures who campaign for it, Barron's life has always been shaped by the opposite goal: privacy. And travel, something most people take for granted, becomes one of the most carefully managed parts of that life. Barron Trump's travel is not about secrecy in the dramatic sense. It is about minimizing disruption, maintaining normalcy, and protecting a young person from unnecessary exposure. When most people travel, they think about tickets, schedules, and destinations. In Barron's world, travel begins with planning that prioritizes safety, calm, and routine. The objective is never to be noticed. It is to move smoothly, quietly, and without spectacle. Unlike public appearances by political figures, Barron's movements are intentionally kept out of headlines. There are no announcements, no public itineraries, and no media briefings. This is not to create mystery, but to preserve childhood. In a world where attention can follow instantly through phones and cameras, limiting exposure becomes a form of protection. When Barron travels, his experience is structured to feel as normal as possible within extraordinary circumstances. Waiting in crowded public spaces, navigating attention, or being placed in unpredictable environments is avoided, not for privilege, but for stability. The goal is to ensure that travel does not become a performance, but simply a transition from one place to another. Privacy plays a central role. Barron's travel is designed to blend into environments rather than dominate them. He is not introduced, announced, or displayed. In fact, the fewer people who recognize him during travel, the more successful the process is considered. True discretion means being forgettable in the moment. Another important aspect is routine. Consistency matters greatly for young people, especially those growing up in unusual circumstances. Travel is arranged to preserve daily rhythms, rest, study time, and personal space. The objective is to ensure that movement across locations does not disrupt personal development. What often surprises people is that secrecy is not the goal. Predictability is. Predictability reduces stress. It reduces attention. It reduces risk. Everything is designed to avoid chaos, last-minute changes, or unnecessary exposure. Calm is prioritized over convenience. Public curiosity often imagines luxury as a defining feature of such travel, but in reality, simplicity is more important. Comfort is chosen not for display, but for quiet. Familiar environments are preferred. Transitions are kept smooth. Noise, crowds, and unpredictability are minimized wherever possible. Another key element is discretion from those involved. Anyone participating in these movements understands the importance of silence, not because of rules alone, but because of responsibility. Protecting a young person's privacy requires cooperation, restraint, and professionalism. Technology also plays a role, not in tracking attention, but in avoiding it. The fewer digital footprints created during travel, the better. Photos are discouraged. Public documentation is avoided. Moments are allowed to pass without being captured or shared. One of the most overlooked aspects of Barron Trump's travel is emotional awareness. Growing up under global observation can create pressure that most people never experience. Travel, therefore, is structured to reduce that pressure rather than add to it. Familiar faces, familiar routines, and familiar environments matter more than luxury destinations. As he grows older, the approach remains the same. Independence increases slowly, but privacy remains constant. The focus is not on isolating him from the world, but on allowing him to experience it without being consumed by it. Balance is the goal. Public fascination often asks where he goes, how he moves, and what it looks like, but the truth is far less dramatic and far more intentional. His travel is quiet by design, unremarkable on purpose. Successful when unnoticed. This approach reflects a broader philosophy that not every life connected to power must be lived publicly. That privacy is not secrecy, and that protection does not mean restriction. It means thoughtful structure as the world continues to watch famous families with constant curiosity. Barron Trump's travel remains a reminder that some stories are meant to stay simple. Movement without noise. Presence without spectacle. A life allowed to grow away from constant observation. As time goes on, the way Barron Trump travels will naturally evolve, but the core principles behind it are unlikely to change. Privacy, dignity, and personal space will remain priorities long after public curiosity fades. Growing up connected to power often forces maturity at an early age, and travel becomes one of the first places where independence is carefully introduced. Each step forward is measured, not rushed, allowing confidence to build without unnecessary exposure. What many people do not realize is that constant attention can be more exhausting than physical travel itself. Airports, hotels, and public spaces are overwhelming even for ordinary travelers. For someone whose name carries global recognition, these spaces require even greater emotional awareness. That is why calm environments are favored, transitions are shortened, and overstimulation is avoided. Travel is meant to be neutral, not stressful. Another overlooked element is respect. Respect for boundaries, respect for youth, and respect for the idea that not every detail of famous families' life belongs to the public. Barron's travel reflects a quiet agreement between those around him that protection is not about control, but about care as adulthood approaches. The balance between privacy and independence becomes more important. The systems in place are designed not to trap him in isolation, but to give him the tools to move through the world confidently without being overwhelmed by it. This is not secrecy for mystery's sake. It is preparation for a life lived under awareness in the end. The story of how Barron Trump secretly travels is really a story about boundaries in a hyper-visible world. It shows that even in the brightest spotlight, it is still possible to move quietly, live thoughtfully, and grow without turning every step into a headline. If you found this respectful look into privacy and protection insightful, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Here, we explore hidden lives not to expose them,